Good morning, friends. Hello. How are you today? Trust you are well. Hope there's goodness in your day. We are. How is everybody today? Hope you're great and good. It is one of the most beautiful days amidst our in the midst of joy. So this I do believe that there's something about September where it is really the best and most beautiful of days. Hey, Vicky. Good morning. Hello for the basement. So we are preparing to serve breakfast to our neighbors. I don't think there's anything more of a high kind of Christian value. I've said this many times than that of hospitality. And so we have the Resiliency Preparatory Academy is next door. The kids have just come back to school the end of last week, and so we're going to offer them a hot meal as they come back through the doors of theirs can get ready for their school year. We're kind of excited about it, looking forward to the kind of spending a little time with them and them getting some joy in the midst of it. So we're hoping that can bear good fruit. And for and really it's been wonderful to see the folks that have come out. We had just all kinds of people that came out today to kind of help out, and we'll have a good bunch tomorrow. It's really something to be a part of that and bear witness to it. So that's how I spent my morning. So it's been a real joy. So good morning. Hey, Karen, good morning to you. Hope you're grand. Um, just saw your daughter celebrating her 25th wedding anniversary. How exciting is that? How beautiful. I hope you feel the warmth of that because that's kind of cool. Um, all right, friends, let's get going this morning. It is the fourth day of September. This first week of September is almost over. We're in at 11:11, and I'm glad you're here. Glad you're a part of the journey, and that you might find yourself well and prayed for, because you are. That I will pray for everybody that will ever hear these words. It's part of the little ritual that I do here as a part of our gathering. So uh, no matter when you're hearing this, if you're on a train somewhere, months later, understand that you were prayed for today, even before you knew it. So that's my hope for. That's my hope to bring some joy to this day. The you know I- the you know it's it's so it's so wild, the whole the notion of the book of Revelation and John's witness. And there's so many different images in it, and there's so much richness in it that and many preachers stay away from it. They don't want to deal with it. They're like, oh, that's all symbolic language and blah blah blah, it doesn't mean a whole lot. But there's some images in it, though, that I find so compelling and so beautiful that every once in a while you just have to bring them up and talk about them. And there's this one that this in the 21st chapter, where it's the description of the holy city, New Jerusalem, descending out of heaven as a bridegroom adorned for a bride, that or bride adorned for a bridegroom. That this whole notion that we are that God's the kingdom of God is coming into the world. This is how our book ends. And that is with this image of the kingdom of God coming into this world. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that means today, particularly just one line out of, again, it's 22 chapters, and you can take any one line and find this richness and beautifulness, but I want to talk about one today, because it's one that I always just kind of try and hold dear, because it's meaningful to me. And so this is the description of the holy city. So there's all these, there's its size, and so I'll just read you this little piece. The angel who talked with me had a measuring rod of gold to measure the city, its gates and its walls. The city was laid out like a square, as long as it was wide. He measured the city with a rod and found it to be 12,000 stadia in length, as wide and as high as it is long. And the angel measured the wall using human measurement, and it was 144 cubits thick. The wall was made of jasper, the city of pure gold, as pure as glass. The foundations of the city walls were decorated with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third agate, the fourth emerald, the fifth onyx, the sixth ruby, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th turquoise, the 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst. The 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of single pearl. The great streets of the city of gold, as pure as transparent glass. Oh, so good, so beautiful. That these incredible images that we can say like, oh well, what is that? That we can get hung up in the what does it mean? But to begin with, just to let those images walk over that the kingdom of God has this image in it of the streets, the way, if you will, the way, the road, the way, the ways of the city of the kingdom are like transparent gold. Now, what is transparent gold? That doesn't even make any sense. I can't. Is it gold? Is it transparent? Is it glass? Is it pure like glass? What is it? I want to. I just want to take a second and try and spend a minute with that image alone, because what and for me these become rich and beautiful things over time, and this is I think some of the way that Bible can speak to us is not just this, it's not just stereo instructions, do this, do that, and you'll have a good life sort of thing, but it is like all of our experiences in life. They are rich and it is meaningful in its depth, you know like if you ever had a child or you got married or you had any significant relationship in your life, that you look at that and you say, oh well, I had a child or I got married, but the depth of that, the depth of those experiences, or I lost a loved one, that the depth of those experiences they're nearly uh, inarticulable. They're so powerful that we might have this child that we raise and share our lives with, and that will go off into the world to do things, and that there's we can see, you might see yourself in them, or this person that you've chosen to couple your life with, and how wonderful it is and how annoying it is, and all the things in between, and all the wonders that come in a covenant, or this one that was in your midst that you loved and you cared for, and they loved you, and now they're no longer here, and the hole and the depth that leaves. That I can talk about all those things, but when we say these are, they're shadows, they're just this flickers on the wall of light compared to the actual experience of them, right? Well, when Bible talks like this, I think it's getting at these experiences of what this kingdom of heaven really looks like for us. So all of that is to just kind of begin talking, which, welcome to being hanging out with a preacher. This is what happens. So Mike Robbins wrote a book once. This guy, he's called "Be Yourself," because everyone else is taken. And he uses this image of the majority of our lives are like icebergs. They really are like these symbols. He says that we see we see this little tip of our lives kind of poking out, what people see, you do with your day, what people don't see you do, what people see you say, what people don't see you say, but that actually underneath the surface, not just in our own private lives, but even in our subconscious, and there is a depth to us that is so powerful and huge and massive that really never breaks the surface. And he contends that our lives would be better if we revealed that stuff to the world, and that the world would be a better place if we would deepen our connections with one another so that it could support those things. It's not just being like, Mr. Inappropriate Sharer and walking around and talking about like, I have shingles or whatever. I mean, whatever is going on. Like, that I'm not saying that just going around and sharing randomly. I'm talking about that we build a context of a life where those profound things that are within us that we might not even know are within us, that we only find out through conversation and through reflection from other people, that those actually might be revealed to our circle, to our people. I mean, this is what I believe is the power of church in some ways. That the people that we come to covenant with, particularly in our congregational way, the people that we choose to be on the road with. Now, that's not everybody that comes to the door. That's not everybody in church, and that if everybody in the church isn't nice to you, that then it's it's all stupid. That's not what I mean. I'm talking that within churches there are ways in which you can find one or two people. You can find people that resonate with you and that you resonate with. You can find people that you serve on boards with. You can find the people that you share efforts and loves with, affiliations with, that you can begin to build these things, and that in the building of them you can reveal this deep architecture of the iceberg of our lives. When that, and because the thing about this, and when now, what does that have to do with the 21st chapter of Revelation? What I think, what that is, what this image that Jesus is giving us about the way of the holy city, like what does the kingdom of God look like in the world? What is the way of moving through the world? What is the road of the kingdom of God when it comes into the world? What does it look like? It looks like transparent gold. It looks like love that you can see through. It looks like a life without guile, without sneakiness, without a sense of fear in how people might be if we actually showed them how we were. I've spent a lot of my life working with veterans and working with soldiers, and the thing about them, particularly combat veterans, but even other veterans but particularly combat veterans that have done bad things and that in the world that have entered into the realm of violence and contributed to it, or had violence done upon them, or borne witness to the horrors of what that can really mean. There is this way in which they'll say something like, if you really knew me, if you really knew what I was capable of, if you really knew what I had done, you wouldn't love me anymore. If you really knew who I am and what I am, you wouldn't let me through your threshold. If you knew the monster that I have been, perhaps on a battlefield or someplace else. I would contend, though, we all have a bit of monster within us. I mean, the great Carl Jung contends with this all the time in terms of when he talks about excuse me, the notion of shadow work, that there are that's not just that we have shadows. It's not just we have parts of our lives that we'd rather not go into, but that within those parts of our lives are monsters. That within those parts of our lives are parts that will be mean, be irascible, or even capable of the horrific. But the invitation is not to damn those things to the outer reaches, but it is to unveil them before God and have them transformed in light. That every time we kind of let the water level go down and expose a little bit more of the iceberg that we are, every time we step into the power of our authenticity, the wall and the power of the holy city actually grows. That the authority, that if you think about some of the most powerful speakers you've ever met, like the people who've shared something that just blew your socks off, what was it that they shared? Was it a proper execution of technical drawings or layout? Was it a hyper emotional plea of how things must be, or was it a radical step into vulnerability and authenticity? That what we find is actually people who are the most authentic, and not in a way that they take it out on you, because there's a way in which that can be violence too. Like we can, not violence, but we can kind of be like, foist ourselves on people. But people who manage to hold it with the so much of the architecture of the holy city is is about walls, is about being boundaried well, but that we hold it. Not that we hold our authenticity rather than splash it all over each other, and then holding it we create this way of transparent gold. We create this way of love that everybody can see through. That is without guile. That is without desire, without uh, mix of motives, but it's simply this willingness to open ourselves up. We're going to go across the street tomorrow and serve breakfast to the kids at RPA, and we're praying that it all goes well, and that's a great experience for those of us who do it. And we come out of that, and we talked a little bit about what we're doing there. We're not going there because we're going to ask him for something, because we want him to be a part of the church, because we want to, even because I personally, like, I don't even want to win souls for Jesus there. That, I mean, although that'd be a wonderful thing to happen, to have somebody be curious about that. But I'm I'm hoping we can show up there with simply nothing more than our way of gold. Than we're offering love with no string, with no desire for that somebody might act a particular way, that no for no for no no transactional reality, for no, like, oh well, I hope they might want to come sometime, or like what. None of that. That we can simply show up for no other reason than we want to love them, and we want to create a way, and that they can see in us, see in our faces, the fact that we're just there to be nice, and we're just there to be kind, and we're just authentically standing in a place that says we're going to go offer you some kindness today, and that's not weakness, and it's not smallness, it's not mealy kind of weakness, but it actually brings with it an incredible authority, the very authority of the Spirit itself. And that's a little thing that we're trying to do. That's a little thing that we're working out. That's a little piece that we're in the process of working out, what it is to be a part of church, and what it is to be a part. And yesterday we went down, and some of our folks went down and fed some people at the margins, with our partnership at the Baptist Church. And um, the the great street of the city of gold, that is as pure as transparent glass. Well, friends, it runs through your heart. It is a way that is looking for you in every one of your relationships. It is looking for you to open in every one of the way in which you do your work, the way in which you treat yourself, and the way in which, rather than beat yourself up or fill yourself with shame, it is the way in which you encounter those, particularly you encounter those who would hurt you, and who would do us ill. That we might encounter it not, with our guard up, and with in full defensive mode, with all of the machine guns ready to go, and all of our insults and our wittiness ready to retort back, but rather that we might pour ourselves out as love, and as love being the way, and that we might do it in such a transparent way, that we might offer it to people in such a profound and open way, that they really can see through us, and in the very best of ways. Not that they see through our guile, or not that they see through our smallness, or that they see through our pettiness, but that they see through us that we truly are seeking to walk in this way that Christ laid down as the kingdom of God in the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming to us right here and right now. The One of my favorite movies is uh, a prison movie of all things, The Shawshank Redemption. It is because it's such a beautiful telling of the Christ story. And in it, the prisoner, the wrongly accused prisoner, Andy Dufresne, is in prison for a murder he doesn't commit. And he takes his love of geology, and he starts to work in the prison yard with his friend Red. And they were speaking kind of escape, you know, and Red has this line in which he talks about his friend Andy. He says this. He says, "Oh, Andy loved geology. I imagine it appealed to his meticulous nature. An ice age here, a million years of mountain building there. Geology is the study of pressure and time. That's all it takes, really. Pressure and time. Friends, the precious stones that are the foundation of the holy city are the pressure and time of your life. That there are those times that you have persevered, those times that you have endured, they find themselves to be gems of your soul, and that what they support, what they adorn, is this beautiful way that might seem idealistic, that might seem impossible, and certainly is not to be laid out to execute perfectly, but is laid out the real and profound understanding of our lives as being this experience of pressure and time that gives way to the beauty of the fruits of the Spirit, the way of a transparent gold that opens in us the true, the good, and the beautiful that is God's kingdom in the world and in our lives. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. Peace and grace to you. Say a prayer for us as we step off tomorrow and are a part of offering some hospitality to our neighbors. I hope you have a great and grand day, and you may know God's grace in the transparent glass of gold that you encounter in your days. Peace and grace.